From the Detroit Free Press, in the heart of the Motor City, it's Monday, November 18th. Here are today's top stories, presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Eric D. Lawrence. Contract talks between the UAW and Fiat Chrysler will soon take center stage. Reaching a deal might not be as tough as it was for the union and General Motors, which faced a lengthy strike, but it might be tougher than for the union and Ford, which had a tentative agreement in just a few days. Any gains for temporary workers, for instance, could be a challenge for FCA, which has more of them than the other automakers. Job security will also likely figure in talks because of the proposed merger between FCA and Peugeot. The ongoing corruption scandal, which has led to charges against union and auto company officials, has colored how workers view negotiations. Whether FCA workers might reject a tentative agreement like they did initially in 2015 is unknown, but that history adds some drama to the process.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Keith Matheny. Here's a fact you probably didn't learn in your history class. The Japanese bombed Michigan during World War II, twice. November marks the 75th anniversary of the start of an unusual, mostly unknown chapter of World War II, Operation Fugo, the Japanese launching of more than 9,300 large, bomb-laden hydrogen balloons carried east across the Pacific Ocean by the jet stream at high altitudes to cause destruction and chaos in the U.S. and Canada. The mission largely was a failure. It didn't cause the widespread wildfires and general panic the Japanese had hoped for. Most of the balloon bombs crashed down over the Pacific, but more than 280 balloons or their components were later discovered in North America, the two easternmost in Michigan, in North Door in Allegan County and near 8 Mile Road in Farmington. The Japanese scrapped the operation in April 1945, having received little feedback on whether the bombs had made it to the U.S. That's because the American War Department censored information about the attack.
I'm Brendelle Hightower for the Detroit Free Press. A slew of hot acts are heading to Metro Detroit with tickets going on sale this week. Country music superstar Garth Brooks is headed back to Michigan after a 5-year hiatus. His last performance here was a 6-show run at the former Joe Louis Arena. Rock band Kiss will wheel out their makeup and put on their platform boots as the band heads to Detroit next year for their farewell tour. Grammy-nominated and former Fifth Harmony singer Camila Cabello will have her first headlining arena tour next year at Little Caesars Arena. And former One Direction member Harry Styles with special guest Jenny Lewis announced a Detroit stop on his world tour. Tickets for most shows go on sale November 22nd, with some starting as early as Thursday. For a complete roundup, visit freep.com.
I'm David Jesse, the higher education reporter for the Detroit Free Press. Wayne State University is in turmoil. Its governing board is engaged in a battle royale that deepens every week, and it has a president who might or might not have been fired. And while much of that turmoil hasn't worked down into the everyday life of students, it's starting to seep in. Pre-med students are wondering if the medical school will be around and what it will look like. Student activists are holding back on suggesting improvements for fear they'll get caught up in the wash. Students just want the board to stop fighting and start working together again. They've become so politicized around themselves, they aren't watching out for the students, Wayne State senior Christina Curtis told me. They are jeopardizing our futures and the work of students to make this university a better place to be.
I'm Kirkland Crawford with the Free Press Sports Department and a look back at Saturday's game. This weekend in Ann Arbor was a tale of two teams. While the Wolverines are soaring, the Spartans are just sore. Michigan had very little trouble against Michigan State, rolling to a 44-10 victory at the Big House. Quarterback Shea Patterson had 4 touchdown passes and 384 yards. That's the most passing yards ever for a Wolverine against the Spartans, breaking Tom Brady's record. For MSU, it was the worst loss against Michigan with Mark D'Antonio as head coach and the largest margin of defeat since 2002. And it was the 5th straight loss for Michigan State, which now has to win both of its last 2 games just to become bowl eligible.
Do you like what you're hearing in our news briefing? Let us know, whether it's a question, comment, or something you just want to hear. You can share your opinion by emailing us at voice@freep.com. That's voice@freep.com. See you tomorrow.